Last week I went looking for Scorpion Arch and couldn't find it. Well, this week I found it. I'd been thinking about going to Arches National Park in Utah. All the spectacular arches, best known, of course, is Delicate Arch, which is featured on the Utah license plate. But there's a million people there, and of course, right now it's snowy and cold. That's Landscape Arch, the longest of all the arches in the U.S. And there I am up on Double Arch, but you no longer can climb them. And rather drive all the way to Utah, I thought there's a million arches in Arizona, some of which we're very familiar with in Sedona, especially Devil's Bridge. But I've previously done videos on Devil's Bridge and Tonto Natural Bridge, so I headed out to the Arastra Mountain Wilderness, where about the only thing you'll see are a few cows on the road. Of course, later on, I ran into some wild burros as well, but there are no other people to be seen. I knew the mountain range, and I was hoping that I could spot some mountain peaks that I'd seen in other photos that were in the background of the arch, and I headed out on a bad road. But there's some pretty gnarly spots. Didn't want to try the Trailhawk. When I got out of my comfort zone, I parked the Jeep and continued to hike the road. Hiked and up a mountain that looked familiar. When I reached the top of the mountain and could see over the other side, I saw what I'd seen in other pictures. Between those two saguaro cactus, Scorpion Arch. And it looked like people were there, but no, they were just wild burros, but not a soul in sight. Finally hiked up the hill. Look out. There's the arch. I have found it. I had actually found the arch. I was pretty darn excited, and I kind of searched if there was a trail or a good way down the mountain. And I didn't see one, and in my excitement, I just headed down. And it was challenging for an old guy with one bad leg, but somehow I made it down. But I was smart enough to decide there's no way I'll make it back up that. So on the way out, I hiked around the side of the mountain, which you still get catclaw, cactus, and a few little challenging washes, but much easier way to go. The wild burros ran away before I got close enough to get a good photo of them, but I kept stopping to take pictures of the arch as I got closer and closer. Because quite honestly, I wanted a little rest. And there in the background is Alamo Lake. Another little hint. Prickly pear cactus was pretty prevalent, but I was surprised to find this beaver tail prickly pear with the fine little spines. I didn't realize it was found in this area. As I got closer, I kept thinking I'm almost there, but there's another wash to go through, some more rocks to brace your back against one side and your feet on the other side as you inch your way down. But I obviously made it. You can't see the arch from any roads, and I don't think there are even any trails that lead to the arch. You pretty much have to go cross country and over mountains. And as you can see as I pan around, there's not another soul in sight. So if you get injured, well, you're going to be spending some time there. Hiking alone in a remote area may be beyond some people's comfort zone. But let's talk a little bit about comfort zone. I mentioned earlier that I got out of my Jeep and parked it because the road was beyond my comfort zone. So obviously, our comfort zone can keep us safe and help us avoid potential danger or harm. As I said on our Havasupai trip, a man's got to know his limitations. If you flip a coin 5 times in a row and it comes up heads, what are the odds that it's going to be heads the next time you flip it? Did you say 50%? The fact that it came up heads 5 times in a row has no bearing on the odds for the next flip. And over the course of multiple flips, you would expect that it would be heads an equal amount to the number of times it would be tails. Eventually, it will even out. Our comfort zone is a mental thing. Did you know you have a comfort zone for just about everything in life? How you sleep, what foods you eat, what you do for recreation. I'm here at Scorpion Arch, and to show you how desolate it is, we are in the middle of nowhere. And if you watched my last video, it's next to nothing. That would be the town of Nothing, Arizona. So if you thought arches were only in Utah, guess again. They're right here in Arizona. Lots of them. Spectacular. In golf, if you're a bogey golfer and you find yourself even par, suddenly you start to feel uncomfortable. You're outside your comfort zone of bogey golf. And even though you're doing better, it makes you anxious, which causes you to do worse. And you revert back to the norm and you start getting your bogeys. A friend of mine, I'll call him Jeff since that's his name, has never beaten me in golf in all the times we've played. And on one occasion, we came to the 18th hole, and he was 2 strokes ahead of me. The 18th hole was a par 4, and he hit his drive right down the middle, and I sliced mine short and in the rough. Jeff was so confident that he was going to beat me that he even posted on Facebook that he was about to beat me in golf. And I reminded him that he's out of his comfort zone. He's not used to playing this well. And you know what happened? I recovered and made a par on the hole, and he totally choked and made a triple bogey and actually lost by 1. For several years, Phil Mickelson was considered the best golfer to have never won a major. He'd won a PGA event as an amateur and won many golf tournaments, and had got second in several majors, but he'd never been able to win one. And I recall an announcer saying, once he breaks through, he'll probably win several. And that's exactly what happened. After he won his first, he went on to win 5 for a total of 6 major championships. But surprisingly, you have to learn how to win. Golfers often have to be in contention to win several times before they're able to actually win. And that's why the mental aspect of the game is so important. You have to learn how to control your emotions, the nerves, the excitement. You have to learn how to get out of your comfort zone, to move your comfort zone so it includes winning. Anyone can make a 3-foot putt without giving it a second thought. But if I bet you $1 million whether you can make a 3-foot putt, it's much more difficult. We are now out of our comfort zone, and it's not as easy to perform. While our comfort zone can make us feel safe and secure, sometimes we have to break out of our comfort zone if we want to advance or improve. Ever talk to someone who hates their job, yet they won't look for another one? That's because they have a certain level of comfort at their current employment, and going out and finding a new job would take them out of their comfort zone. The comfort zone is a psychological state where we feel at ease because we're not being challenged. We only take on activities that are familiar to us because it helps us feel in control. Leaving our comfort zone causes stress and anxiety, and as humans, we're wired to avoid that. Sometimes the rut we're in is just us being afraid to leave our comfort zone. We don't even realize it. A simple example is my hiking buddy Kelly. I tried to get him to play pickleball, but the name sounded stupid. He had plenty of other activities he enjoyed, and basically he didn't do it. When he finally tried, he found out he enjoyed it, and now he plays every day. So much so, I've lost the hiking buddy because, well, he'd rather play pickleball than go hiking. A common regret many older people express is that I wish I would have let myself be happier. Don't overthink things. Take the first step. Chinese proverb. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So take the first step. Step out of your comfort zone. Do something you've always wanted to do. Try something new. The goal is to gradually expand your comfort zone and create good stress. And you might ask, what's good stress? Mild stress can focus our attention and concentration and actually help us perform better. Many athletes perform better in the big game simply because they're more focused, even though there is more stress. Psychologists in 1908 determined that rats get through a maze quicker when exposed to mild shock. If the level of the shock or stress was increased, however, the rats simply went and sat in a corner. This study helps explain why athletes may perform better when exposed to some stress. However, we also learn that too much stress may prevent us from being able to perform. I guess the point is, step out of your comfort zone, but don't run away from it. We're trying to expand our comfort zone, not blow it up. Little stress is good. Too much can be debilitating. Well, there's another one of those beaver tail prickly pears. And I'm leaving the wilderness and the arch that I was lucky enough to find. It was one spectacular day, and then the drive out. I started this whole rambling on the comfort zone by talking about my drive in, that the road got so rough it was outside my comfort zone. Well, stay in your comfort zone when it's telling you not to do something stupid, but be willing to accept a little anxiety to grow and learn new things. But I hope you've enjoyed the video of this trip to find this arch. It's commonly called Scorpion Arch. I was kind of surprised that I actually found it, but by looking for the various peaks and knowing the general mountain range and the general area, I was able to find it. Have a great day.